morning. I'm Reverend Dr. Candy Ashenden, and I welcome you to this service commemorating Memorial Day and remembering all of those who have served and who have lost their lives in service of our country. Please join me as we reflect and remember.
Let us begin our time of worship with a moment of remembrance.
We remember fallen soldiers and the sacrifice they made for the sake of others.
Let us begin our time of worship with a moment of thanksgiving.
We thank God for brave men and women that have given their lives so that we may worship without fear.
Let us begin our time of worship with a moment of silence, for a moment is the least we can do for those who gave their eternity.
Amen.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause that flag still stands for freedom. They can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit and down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart. It's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
God of every nation, as we remember those that gave their lives for our sake, let us be stirred to action in their memory. Be with us that we might do all we can to promote peace and justice in our world, that the day would come when the wars would cease and the whole world would live in peace. Help us to love our neighbors and have compassion for our enemies, not only this day, but always. Amen.
Beloved, our Father and Mother, in whom is heaven, hallowed be your name. Followed be your royal way. Done be your will and rule throughout the whole creation. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen.
John 15:13 reminds us, greater love has no one than this, but to lay down one's life for one's friends.
This is my desire to honor you, Lord, with all my heart I worship you. All I have within me, I give in you. Lord, I give you my heart, I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm away, Lord, have your way in me.
As we gather on this Memorial Day weekend, we may be tempted to think of this weekend as simply a day off from work or the kickoff to summer. But in fact, if we do that, we miss the essence of this holiday. In Athol, in our church, we have many different sacred observances and traditions to commemorate this day. And since we can't offer those in person this year, we wanted to find a way to make this observance sacred. So we traveled to Washington, D.C., to our nation's capital. Here we will look at many memorials and think about the many ways we can honor and give thanks for those who have given service and given their lives in service for our country. While the first commemorative Memorial Day events weren't held in the United States until the late 19th century, the practice of honoring those who have fallen in battle dates back thousands of years. The ancient Greeks and Romans held annual days of remembrance for loved ones, including soldiers, each year, festooning their graves with flowers and holding public festivals and feasts in their honor. In Athens, public funerals for fallen soldiers were held after each battle, with the remains of the dead on display for public mourning before a funeral procession took them to their interment in the Keramikos, one of the city's most prestigious cemeteries. In the U.S., Decoration Day, which would later become known as Memorial Day, began in the 1800s and was originally a commemoration of those who died in the service during the Civil War. Americans embraced the notion of Decoration Day immediately, and that first year, more than 27 states held some sort of ceremony, with more than 5,000 people in attendance at a ceremony here in Arlington National Cemetery. By 1890, every former state of the Union had adopted it as an official holiday, though it wasn't until America's entry into World War I that the tradition was expanded to include those killed in all wars, and Memorial Day was not officially recognized nationwide until the 1970s, with America deeply embroiled in the Vietnam War. Throughout our nation's capital, we find many memorials dedicated to those who have served and died in service to our country. As we move through these memorials, I'm going to invite you to join with me in experiencing them, in learning about them, and in entering into a spirit of gratitude and honoring. I'm standing now at the Military Women's Memorial, which honors and tells the stories of women, past and present, who serve our nation. Women have served in the military since the founding of the Republic. From the story of Molly Pitcher, who served with the Continental Army during the Revolution, to the women serving today, America's military women have long demonstrated courage, patriotism, and leadership. This memorial is located on the historical line connecting the Lincoln Memorial and the Arlington House, and it's dedicated to the more than 3 million women who have served our country since the American Revolution. This is one of the 4 stairwells leading to the upper terrace that reaches the original wall. This is built to symbolize women breaking through barriers in the military. Behind the original wall is an exhibit gallery chronicling the collective history of military women's service from the American Revolution to the present. Inside, the Hall of Honor is where tribute is paid to servicewomen who were killed in action, died in the line of duty, held prisoner of war, or were recipients of our nation's highest awards for service and bravery. Bravery, barrier breaking, collective action in service of others, all of these are virtues that we honor and respect as we journey in and among the memorials. Standing here at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, you will notice that it includes the names of over 58,000 servicemen and women who gave their lives in service in the Vietnam conflict. This memorial includes the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, where many people come to find the name or names of loved ones whom they lost in this conflict, often taking a rubbing of the name home as a tangible reminder of the person and their service. The 3 servicemen statue and the Vietnam Women's Memorial are also part of this poignant commemoration. Roaming from one area to another of the National Mall, one cannot help but notice the hush that falls as one approaches each memorial. Walking up to the Korean War Veterans Memorial is no exception. Suddenly, men seem to come out of nowhere, and one can almost imagine them sneaking through the brush in a war-torn area. This memorial was dedicated in 1995 and is unique in its structure as well as its significance. Its wall of remembrance and 19 stainless steel statues commemorate the sacrifices not only millions of Americans, but also of many Allied partners who fought during the Korean War. So where is God in all of this? Here, surrounded by man-made creations, one might think that we are deeply enmeshed in strictly human creations. However, God's Spirit is almost palpable, as our hearts are moved by the dedication and the service which so very many who are remembered here offered our country and the world. Our text for today tells us, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." That is so very true and so very holy. And when considering all who gave their lives here, many gave them not only for their friends, but for their country and for all future generations. The World War II Memorial, which you see behind me, was instantly popular with visitors from the time it opened in the spring of 2004. Thousands of veterans who served in World War II witnessed the formal dedication of the memorial as they descended upon the nation's capital on Memorial Day weekend of that year. Designed by Friedrich St. Florian, former chief of the Rhode Island School of Design, the memorial illustrates the clear relationship between the home front and the battlefront, as Americans at home and those fighting abroad relied upon each other's support in this defining moment of the 20th century. The visitor cannot help but understand the deep meaning of the site of this tribute to American sacrifice in World War II. Our greatest generation fittingly has a memorial standing as testament to their sacrifices, placed cleanly between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. As one continues into the ceremonial entrance of the memorial, the distinct symbolic symmetry is apparent. The north side of the memorial stands as tribute to the victory over the Axis powers in Europe, just as the south side symbolizes the victory in the Pacific. 12 bronze bas-reliefs decorate the walls of the memorial on either side, as one approaches the ceremonial plaza. The reliefs chronologically highlight the experience of the war on the home front, placed in context with the battles being waged on land, sea, and air. Images of troops landing on beaches in the South Pacific and Normandy are paired with those of farmers and factory workers back home. Celebratory images bring a close to the war as American troops shake hands with Allied troops at war's end, and celebratory dancing by civilians on American streets echo the end of the fighting. Fittingly, at this juncture, the Rainbow Pool, a facet of West Potomac Park for decades, and now part and parcel of the World War II Memorial, accentuates the two victories with its stately, impressive fountains. In the top of the Victory Pavilion, 4 stately American bald eagles, symbols of not only our nation, but of the Army Air Corps, the Navy, and the Marines, hold aloft an ancient symbol of victory, a laurel wreath. As one glances over the Rainbow Pool, your field of vision is captured by a large field of gold stars. Each gold star represents 100 Americans who died in the war. Just over 4,000 of these stars clearly reflect the loss of 399 Americans. The field of stars is underscored by a granite marker embedded with the words, "Here we mark the price of freedom." This area allows the visitor to pay their respect to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on a more intimate level. And in this sacred space, one can sense not only the spirits of all those remembered here, but also the presence of God, who now watches over each of them. 56 columns surround the field of gold stars, as if in the form of a guard of honor. The 48 states of the Union during the war, and the 8 territories, including Alaska, Hawaii, and the Philippines, branch out from the gold stars. Each has a hollow center, reflecting the individual loss of each state or territory in the war, and 2 wreaths decorate each one in the form of wheat, the bounty of homefront agriculture, and of oak, symbolizing American strength of industry. A heavy rope binds each of the states and territories together to represent our nation coming together in this great struggle.
In our country, we enjoy a lot of freedoms. We're free to decide what we want to be when we grow up. We're free to choose where we want to live. We're free to attend church. But all of these freedoms are not really free. These freedoms come at a great cost. And standing here on this Memorial Day weekend, we remember all of those courageous men and women who gave their lives, who made the greatest sacrifice of all, laying down their life for the freedoms we now enjoy. Let us honor and remember all who serve. Amen.
Post! Right! Base! Forward! March!
As we go forth from this place, let us continue to remember and honor all those who have served and all who will serve. Go in the peace of Christ. Amen.